Okay, welcome. Good morning, Piska Tova.
Amen.
Today is Lamed Tesam with base on the bottom. And I think if I got right from what I'm listening, that this page is the halfway mark of Shas. So,
So what is it? We're learning already more than three
yeah. So the world is two weeks ahead of us, but this
Okay.
he said it a couple of weeks ago when the world was up to that. So now we caught up on the halfway mark. We was over to do Kishem Shazachin the first half. We was over the second half. So in the middle of the Mishnah, the sugya about schar and olam hazeh, schar and olam haba. The Mishnah said if you do a mitzvah, which the Gemara explained, means if a person does a mitzvah, tips the scale. More mitzvah, so then he's going to get a good life in this world and the world to come. The Gemara the kasha from the Brisa that says on the contrary, when he's rolled with schuyos, so then he's going to have a bad life. So the Gemara is two towards him. One teretz according to Taisus was that it doesn't mean he has a bad life. It means once in a while he has a bad day. Then on that day you think he's the worst person in the world. But in general he has it good. And the opposite, you have a Russia that has a good doesn't mean the whole life is good. It means that he has good times in his life, but that's only to pay him back periodically for his good. But in general, there's schar in this world also. And Rabbi said the second there is that Rabbi Yaakov holds there's no schar in this world. The cheshbonos of schar no are not in this world. That's different cheshbon.
Somebody you don't know anything.
Right, you don't know anything. A person doesn't know himself either. It means, a person can know himself, but not from what Hashem gives him, from what he does. A person has to judge himself not according to his situation. It could be that he's a rich guy and he's happy and healthy and everything's good. Doesn't mean he's a big tzaddik. And the opposite, he can have a lot of sorrows. He can't judge from his predicament in life. He can judge from according to what he does. He has to do introspection, which is the whole issue of Zehirus. A person should know what he's doing, not what Hashem is doing to him. That's Rabbi Yaakov. And the Gemara says, how did he prove it? Because he saw that a person did keep it over aim, and Shiluach HaKain, and he died. And right, Rabbi Yaakov, and he came to the Maskana that schar is not talking about this world, about the world to come. It is interesting that the Gemara afterwards asked the kasha about Shluchim Mitzvah and Nizokin. How was he damaged during the time that he was doing the mitzvah? The Gemara said there was a faulty ladder, and still the Gemara still thinks so. So then I would say it's not a right to the first thing either. If it's a faulty ladder, so it's not a kasha on the point about about schar in this world. Maybe there is schar in this world, but he went on a faulty ladder. The Gemara doesn't think that that's a kasha. Still, it's a right that there's no mitzvah, no schar mitzvah in this world. So more or less, that's what else did we do after that? And it says Acher, the grandfather, he didn't know that, and therefore he went off. If he would have known what his grandson's going to dash, he wouldn't have gone off. So up to 3 lines before it spreads, Rami, Rav Tuvi, Bar, Rav Kisna, the Rav. Rav Tuvi, the son of Rav Kisna, asked the kasha to Rav. It says in our Mishnah, Tanan, called Oseh Mitzvah Achas Mativim. If someone does a mitzvah, we said mitzvah means that he tipped the scale, so he's going to have a good life. But not the point. The first point, the Gemara spoke about the contradiction. Other places it says differently. Here the kasha is Oseh in lo asalo. Here it's mashma if he did a positive mitzvah. From being passive, that wouldn't give him schar. It's only if he does positive mitzvahs. And the kasha is Raminu, a kasha from a different source. Yashav al-Avaver and those was schar for a mitzvah. It's also a mission, I think, that if somebody sat and didn't do an aver, he also gets schar like he did a mitzvah. The Gemara thinks at this point that just by not doing anything, he also gets schar. Sakama Mishnah says that if you do a mitzvah, even if you don't do an aver, he also gets schar. Amalei, so Rav explained, which is our Pashup Shat. He only gets schar for not doing an aver when he had the opportunity to do the Avera. If he didn't have the opportunity, just not doing anything doesn't give him schar. Schar means when that's called like a kamada active thing, that he had the opportunity to steal. He was passing by something that's easy to steal, and nobody was there, no policeman or nothing, and he could have stolen. That's when he gets schar. He had some kind of nisayon to eat treif, and he didn't, whatever it might be, arayas, any kind of Avera that he could have done and he didn't do. But if he had no nisayon, so then he doesn't get schar. So it's not a contradiction. They were talking about that a person does a mitzvah. There's cases he gets schar for not doing an avera when he had the opportunity. And now the Gemara brings about many stories about people that had nisyonos about arayas, and they withstood it, and says how great they are. The other Rav Chanina bar Papa, Tevati ahi matronisa, a matron, a matronisa, version of matron, a noble woman that she demanded. What is the word Tevati? She demanded him. She demanded relations. And she was a powerful woman. He wasn't able to just say no. So he had a way of doing, I guess it's some kind of sorcery. Why is it mutter? I'm not, maybe Hashem Hashem. I guess Hashem Hashem. He wouldn't be allowed to do sorcery, maybe. He did something in order to make himself full of boils. Shichna, one line up from the bottom. The story starts 3 lines up.
Marma, I didn't see Shechna.
Shichna is 1 line up. Here it is.
Mhm.
Shichna is right here.
Okay.
So he says something. He says probably Hashem to make himself full of boils. Shichna v'kiva, boils and kiva. They say is pus. So he wanted to make himself disgusting. So she should leave him alone. But of the emails of Itzi, but she also had a way of doing kishuf, and she healed him. Arak Tasha Bahube Bani. So he ran, escaped, and he hid himself in a bathhouse. He have an island betraying. It was so dangerous. It was so infested with mazikim that even if 2 people go in the daytime, usually 2 people is ready a shmira. Daytime is also a shmira. It was like a double shmira. 2 people in the daytime, people would have gotten the damage.
Bathhouse?
It was a bath. Beibani is a bathhouse.
Which one?
Well, why would it be
Beibani.
dangerous? So was it like abandoned or something? Or what?
Could have been.
Right?
Could be that was the reason. But it seems people stayed away because it was inhabited by mazikim, by shadim. And even if 2 people would go in the daytime, they'd always have problems. And he went to a dangerous place to hide. The next day, the Rabbanan asked him, "Who's watching you?" It means there was a chiddush that you didn't get damaged in that Beibani. Amalahu, so he said, top of the page, Shtei Nose Kesam. 1 second, please. Yeah. Shtei Nose Kesam Shemuni Kalalayla. 2 Nose Kesam. Sounds like the king's guards. Kesar is like a Caesar, and Nose probably means the ones who take care of him. So like the bodyguards. I had 2 bodyguards over there. So the 2 bodyguards weren't regular bodyguards, some kind of angelic showman. Did it happen that some kind of an Isayan for Arias came to you and you were saved from it? That would be a schus. That you were saved must be you had some schus. And he said, yeah, that was the reason. The Tanina called about if somebody had an Isayan for Arias and he got saved from it, means that he overcame the Nisayon of Erva, so they're going to do a miracle. That was considered a miracle, the fact that he was saved in that bathhouse. So that's what the Gemara said, that he had an opportunity to do an Avera. He didn't do an Avera, then it's considered a big schus. But if somebody didn't have the opportunity, so he doesn't get a schus automatically for not doing those Averas. The Gemara continues with more stories, and here it brings a pasuk. That's a pasuk. It says that those tzaddikim that are strong, to do Hashem's word, to listen to this voice of the sound of His word. People that listen to Hashem with strength. So it brings a story.
Maybe this is already the next story, or
Another story, right? And it starts off with a
how do you
pasuk
know that's not talking about the previous story?
because it says right away, the story of Rab Tzadok and those that are his colleagues that are like him. And now it says a story. What's Rab Tzadok? What was the story? Rab Tzadok also, when he said it was a noble woman that demanded relations with him. He said, I'm weak. I don't have koach. I can't have relations. I'm shvach. I'm weak. Maybe something to eat. There's only tray for food over here. What's the difference? Someone who's going to do znus can eat treif also.
That's what she said.
That's what he said. He said, give me the tray for food.
He said, give me the tray.
Give me the tray for food. Somebody that's going to do znus could do it. So it's all the same. Rashi says a little bit different than I said. Rashi says that the fact that it only Hashem made, orchestrated, only be tummy tray for food shows me that somebody that does nus deserves tray for food. That there's no difference. That
he was going to do this.
so we have to. So we're in suspense.
He pushed her away by saying, "I'm weak."
Okay, so yeah, but no, he said, "I'm a weak and give me some food. I can't have
He
relations."
said, "Give me." I thought she said, "Give me."
No, lamatzina, you can be the lamecha. I think that.
I thought
Yeah,
he
that was all.
trying to
That
push
was
her
all
away.
her. This was all. This whole line is him. Then she said, "There's only trade food." Somebody that does this also should eat trade. There's no difference. Shagris tanura. So she got the oven ready. She was going to cook the food for him. Kaman chalei. She put it in the oven. So he went into the oven. That was his trick. He wanted her to put the oven on. The oven wasn't a small little oven. The oven was a big oven that you go like the baker's oven, you know. So she put on the oven in order to put in. She lit the fire. She got the wood going in order to get the food, and he went into the oven. Amalei, my high, what's happening? She said, "What's happening?" Amallah, somebody that does avera is going to fall into the fire. So if you want me to do avera, this is better for me. Better to go into the fire. Amalei. She was a goyish, a woman.
So it's not a hard bayava.
Abizrayu, I'm not sure. Abizrayu, that right? I'm not sure. If I would have, she said, if I would have known that it bothers you so much, I wouldn't have pained you. She saw how much it means to him. So then she said, it's okay, fine.
So he came.
He came out, but he was ready to kill himself. Maybe that's okay, to kill himself. Okay. New story. Rav Khan have a Kamaz bin. Have to make it smaller. First white line. Rav Kana have a Kamaz bin Dikule. Rav Kana would sell baskets. It was baskets that women would use for their knitting, whatever it was. They had baskets. See, it was that was his business. In order to make money, he had to sell baskets. Tavati Ahimat, so a noble woman also demanded him for znus. So he said, I'm going to go and get myself prepared. Yeah, before Revelation, so I'll get myself prepared, whatever, take a shower. So he went up to the roof and he fell and he jumped off. I'll say, yo, Kabli, Elio came and caught him. Elio came and received him. Amalei, I tracked an Abba Meir parcel. Elio Navi said, you made me emergency. I came 400 parcel to save you. Amalei, Migorli, what caused me to have this situation? Lavani Yusa, isn't it because of my poverty? It means I'm selling baskets. It's a women's job. It's a job that I have to do with women only because I had poverty. So that's the problem. I'm poor and I have to do this kind of job. So now I have these issues of women coming to me. Yavle Shifa the din we sell. Yeah, I gave him a basket of golden coins and he became rich and he didn't have to do that business anymore. So more about 3 stories about people that were in the side of Arias and they withstood it. Or from the stories alone, could you learn some things about killing oneself in order not to do it? I don't know the halacha, but here they were most nefesh in order not to do an avera. These people get schar like the din mitzvah, but it's time that a person was didn't do an avera doesn't necessarily mean that he gets schar for it. Nugamara, 4th white line. Remember they Rav Nachman. Rav asked Rav Nachman. Tanan. We had the mission pay quoted before. Tanan. Elu devarim shalom osa son b'achol perasem b'olam hazeh ken kemas olam haba. Elu hein kibud avaim kimilas chasadim havla shalom adam lachavero. Talmud Torah, Keneged Kulam. Notice it doesn't say we said yesterday that's an addition. So this is the mission everybody says in the morning after Birchas Torah. You don't have to say this mission, it's just an example of learning after you say Birchas Torah. But it picks a mission which talks about Talmud Torah. So it says these are the things that a person has Paris in this world. Also, not only the Karen Olam Haba, Kibbud Avayim, doing kindness, bringing peace between people, and Talmud Torah is more than all of those. So and there might be spoken for each one. How do you know that there's even Schar and Olam Hazeh? So it brings a pasuk for each one. You'll have long days and it'll be good for you. The fact that it says two Lashonos, so the Gemara says it means Olam Hazeh, Olam Haba. The Gemilas Chasadim Ksiv, Rodet Tzedakah V'Chesed, Yem Sachayim Tzedakah V'Chavod. That's a pasuk by a person who runs after Chesed, Tzedakah V'Chesed. So he's going to find life. Tzedakah is going to mean justice and kavod. So the Gemara says that. So the Rashi explains Chaim. The fact that it says two lashonos, Chaim Tzedakah V'Chesed. So Chaim means in this world, Tzedakah means in the world to come. That's going to be Gzera Shabbat link. Here it says seek peace and run after it. There's Gzera Shabbat to learn out Redifa, running after. Here it says run after. The pasuk before by Chesed, Rodet Tzedakah V'Chesed. So there's a Redifa. If before we said by kindness that the pasuk says is going to get Olam Hazeh, Olam Haba, so also by seeking peace between people is also going to cause him to have good in this world and the world to come. And
where's Rodef Tzedakah V'Chesed?
Where is it?
That's also Tehillim? Or?
Number 3. Mishlei. Rodet Tzedakah V'Chesed, Yem Sachayim Tzedakah V'Chavod, Mishlei 21.
Okay.
And the one with Gzera Shabbat to learn that also there applies by Rodef Shalom V'Rotfeyu also applies the bracha in this world and the world to come. And Talmud Torah also Ksiv it's your life and the length of your days, a double lashon, so you learn out this world, the world to come. So all 4 things that the Mishnah said about Paris and Olam Hazeh, they're both looking for. But now the Gemara is asking, why is it not a 5th thing? Sending away the mother in order to take the children, so the eggs. So it says also two lashonos, and also you should learn out that there's Char and Olam Hazeh. Listen, Amiha, why doesn't it say it? The answer is Tana Bashir. The Gemara tries to get out of it that it's not an exhaustive list. It says some, it leaves out some left out. Enochnami. Shiluch HaKen is also should be in the list. But the Gemara objects. Tani Tana Elu Dvarim Ba'at Amrit Tana Bashir. The pasuk said that Tana says these are Elu Dvarim. When it says Elu Dvarim, that's being an exhaustive list. If it would have just said 4 things without saying that Elu Dvarim, then you could have said maybe it's not an exhaustive list. But if it says Elu, it means these and not anymore. Sometimes the Gemara also would have asked that my Shai, the High Shai, who doesn't only leave off one thing, but the Gemara says Elu Dvarim is surely an exhaustive list. So we need a new teretz. Why doesn't it say Shiluach HaKain is also schar in this world? Amar Rava Ravidi Asbali. So Rava said that Ravidi explained it to me. It says in the pasuk, Imut Tzadik Yitov Kiprim Alaleim Yocheda. That's a pasuk. Tell to the tzaddik, or Imut, some say means to say to the tzaddik, some say that it means elevate the tzaddik because he is good, because they're going to eat the fruit of their deeds. So here it says something about Pri Malalaim. They're going to have the fruit of the deeds. So they're more saying that the pasuk that tells us that this fruit, that's a perusayim, it says when it's a tzaddik kitov, that it's a tzaddik that is good. And the more it says every tzaddik is good. What's called a tzaddik that's not good? If he's a tzaddik, he's good. Such thing as a good tzaddik and not a good tzaddik. There's a tzaddik sometimes, but he's only a tzaddik l'shamayim. That means that he does good things between ben adam l'makom. But if he doesn't have ben adam l'chavero, so this bracha of having pri ma'alayim, the bracha of having schar l'olam hazeh is only for those kind of mitzvahs that also are good to people, like mitzvahs and the Gemara says that all the ones we said before, kibbud avim, people are benefiting from it as parents, and chesed and shalom and Torah, all these things people benefit from also. That's interesting. Torah is also considered that people benefit from. Maybe Rashi will say something. But Shiluach HaKain is nothing to do with people. So the bracha, Pri Ma'alayim, the bracha to have perus, this pasuk says is only when it's a tzaddik kitov. Tov l'shamayim, v'ra'ala brio, zeh tzaddik she'ena tov. If he's good to heaven, means he does another l'mokum, but he doesn't benefit people, that's called a tzaddik she'ena tov. So the bracha of having perus in this world is only for a tzaddik that also is tov l'shamayim and tov l'brios. Rashi, what's Torah? Why is Torah? Does that need any explanation? Why is Torah also good to people?
No, Torah is good to people. A kiyum of Torah is good to people.
Rashi says, Kulu abrios, the Hanach Kulu abrios narimi menu. Rashi doesn't explain. Rashi doesn't think it needs explanation. Chaim David says it doesn't need explanation. That Torah teaches you also how to be good to people. It teaches both. But Torah is also Tov Labrios. But Shiluach HaKain is not. So therefore, there's no comparison in this world. Once the Gemara is here already, so continue. That doesn't show dafka to other people. The Gemara learns out things about Dachinoam for a person himself. The Gemara says Dachinoam, so therefore we know that lulav is not going to be something that's pricking, doesn't prick because it's pleasant. All the mitzvahs are pleasant. It's not, but it's true. It could be that. Yeah. Surely the Torah is going to be things about Brios also. That's what your answer is. That Torah is good for people because when a person learns Torah, he's good to people also. So the bracha of having parents in this world is only when it's also Tov Lav Brios. Once we mentioned this, so the Gemara brings in a side point. Maybe it deserves parentheses. It's not the main subject. We find a similar. We find a similar thing. Woe to the wicked man who is evil, because the retribution for his actions is going to be done to him. He's going to get paid back for his actions. But it says a Rasha Ra, like a bad Rasha. Every Rasha is bad. Is there a bad Rasha, not a bad Rasha? A bad Rasha means that he not only does have errors, he also does bad to people. That's called Rasha Ra. And that if he does Averis, but he doesn't not bear to people, so he's called the Rasha, but he's not called the Rasha Ra. That's not relevant to us. We just needed the first part. We needed the first Rasha about Tov Lashamayim V'Lavrios. That's the reason why he gets parison in this world, and Shiluach HaKain doesn't have that, so he doesn't then benefit in this world from the schar of Shiluach HaKain.
Shiluach HaKain, that's a tzaddik Ra?
No, it's a tzaddik she'eno tov.
She'eno tov.
Right.
And because since we mentioned that, we're saying there's also a Rasha that's.
It's a Rasha Ra and a Rasha she'eno Ra. And that the Gemara doesn't talk about what the ramifications that has. But by tzaddik tov, so it says that person olam hazeh is only for a tzaddik is also tov brios also. The Gemara continues as chus yesh lo ken v'yesh lo peros. Merit has the principle that remains, and also he has peros, I guess, in olam hazeh. That merit also, I'm not sure if it says here after about peros and olam hazeh, but it says it has peros. Not only the principle of his merit, but also he's going to have interest also on his merit. Shenemar imut tzadik kitov ki prima l'leim yochid. The end of the pasuk. We just brought that pasuk. That is peros. Peros is for the tzaddik, for that doing mitzvahs. So there's peros for his good deeds. But avera doesn't have peros. Yesh lo ken vein lo peros. Shenemar oile rasha ra ki gmul yadav yasalo. It doesn't say anything about peros over there. That the retribution for his actions is going to be paid back to the rasha. But it doesn't say that he also gets interest on his punishment. But the pasuk does say sometimes the avera also has interest. It does say a pasuk about being paid back peros of a person's bad ways, that they're going to eat from the fruit of their ways and from their schemes they're going to be satiated, which means also there's peros for avera also. The answer is avera is also peros, esh lo peros. V'she'en peros, en lo peros. Sometimes the avera itself has ramifications. The avera gets worse and worse. Someone made a bad institution, whatever. He teaches apicorsis, whatever. He puts something online that's so it's continuously doing bad. So then he's gonna pay back for all of that bad also, because that's a result of his avera. But the avera alone gets a punishment and doesn't have interest. Mashenkin mitzvahs, he has even peros. Probably peros means in this world also. I'm not sure. But the point that the Gemara says is that avera doesn't have interest only if the avera causes interest on the avera is getting bigger. Any Rashi about that? Rashi says, example, avera also peros chil Hashem, that a person caused people to learn from him. So the chil Hashem has continued dividends, that it's getting worse and worse. So then he's also paid back for all of those dividends also. But if it wouldn't have dividends, so then he only gets the avera without any interest on the punishment. The next point, machshava tova. So a good intention. It means a person had a good intention to do a mitzvah. He had a plan to do a mitzvah. Mitzvah Kodesh Baruch Hu combines it to the action, means that besides the deed that he did good, he gets reward for the plan to do the mitzvah. Even the planning of doing the mitzvah, also Hashem combines it together with the deed, and he gets payment, gets reward even for the wanting, the planning to do the mitzvah. For a Jew? What?
Is that only for a Jew?
I think so, but I don't recall where we had that, but I don't recall where we had it. That it said it's not for by Jew.
If they plan to do something, they don't get credit for it.
I think we had it, but I don't remember. Thank you for recalling. I'd like to know where it says that.
Machshava of a Jew.
That's what we're holding. That's what we're saying, that Hashem. So the Gemara is going to say soon, even not. So far, that's what it says. So far, it says, like you said, so he gets reward for. But Les is saying that the Gemara so far just says that the good plan is combined to the deed. That means he did the deed, and that he doesn't only get schar for the deed, he gets even schar for the planning also.
That's different.
But so far, does it? But the Gemara is going to say soon, the next one. Shenamar oznid bu yiri Hashem b'shuayu, famous pasuk. V'achshev Hashem v'yishma v'yikosev sev zikaron l'fanav l'yirei Hashem v'l'chol shvei shmo. Then the yirei Shemayim, they speak to each other, and Hashem is listening and writing it down. It's written down in the sefer of sefer zikaron.
Who's the Yirei?
Yirei Hashem, sefer of remembrance.
Yirei Hashem.
People that are Yirei Hashem, they talk to each other about good things, to make good plans, and Hashem's listening to their discussion, and it's written down in the book of records to those who fear Hashem and to those who. So Pashut Chosh Veishmo means those who consider His name. Those who, but the drash is going to be My Chosh Veishmo Amra Vasi Afilu Chashavad Amlasas Mitzvah. That's the planning alone that he planned to do the mitzvah and he wasn't able to. Not that he changed his mind. He wasn't able. He wasn't able to, so that he gets credit as if he did it. So now it goes a bigger chiddush. Before we just said that if he had a good plan to do the mitzvah and he did the mitzvah, so he gets schar for the plan also. Now it says that even if he didn't do the mitzvah, but he wasn't able to, he gets schar as if he did it also. He definitely gets credit for the thought. And here it says that he even gets schar even more. He gets schar as if he did it also. But that's all machshava tova. How about machshava ra? A person had a plan to do an avera. Any Kadosh Baruch Hu mitzvah l'mais, he doesn't get punished for the thought, for the plan. He only gets punished for the action. Shenamar avanim reisi belibi lo yishma Hashem. If I have iniquity in my heart, Hashem does not hear. Means Hashem doesn't look at the planning. If he didn't do the avera, he doesn't get punished for the plan. I'm sorry. A person planned. Did I say it right? A person has a plan to do an avera. He doesn't get punished for the planning. He gets punished for the doing. The pasuk does say that a person gets punished for the
Pre.
machshava. That if Hashem says, I'm going to bring to this nation evil, the result, the pre of their thoughts. That means even the thoughts also are they're punished for. The Gemara darshans that they do get punished. Yeah, they do get punished for the thoughts, not only for the deeds. The answer is machshava she'osa pri hakadosh baruch hu musaf l'maisa. Machshava she'eino osa ein ba pri ein hakadosh baruch hu musaf l'maisa. If the plan was successful and he did avera, then he gets paid for the planning also. Then he gets punished for the planning also. If he didn't do the avera, even if he wasn't able to, but he didn't do the avera, so then he doesn't get punished for the planning alone.
And what does that have to do with the pre? I thought the pre is the kind of Avera he was going to do is going to have payros.
That's already the pre. It's not the same pre as before.
Oh.
Like 10 lines ago,
So
here it means that the thought had a pre. The thought had a produce. The produce of the thought is that
the action.
is the action. So
I
if the planning brought to an action, then he gets paid punishment for the planning also. But if it didn't bring to action, even if it was because he didn't need it anymore, whatever he wanted to do, it's not available. But he changed his mind. He doesn't get punished for the planning if it didn't bring to an action. By a mitzvah, he gets paid for the thought, even if it did not bring to action. Bananas for law saw. Both of them, both mitzvahs and averus. If it brought to a result, then he gets paid for the machshav also, both for good and for bad. But by the mitzvah, he gets paid for the thought, even if it didn't carry through, because the owner's happy he wasn't able to do it. But avera, if he wanted to do an avera, but he wasn't able to, he doesn't get punished for the thought.
Oh, not that he changed his mind. He wasn't able to.
Even if he wasn't, didn't have need. Rashi says he didn't have need for it. Maybe also onus. If he didn't do it, he doesn't get punished for the. Rashi says here.
If he decided not to do it, seems to me like that would be a call to Homer. If we learn from Tshuva, there's somebody that did an Avera and then they regret it, and then it says if they
So this is not that they regret it.
So if he never did it and he
nobody didn't regret it. Again, did he regret it? No, he didn't regret it. It doesn't say that he regretted it. He just the Maisa didn't follow through. Rashi says, where did Rashi say this? I don't see Rashi. I thought Rashi said someplace that he didn't need to do it. Here I don't see it. No, I see Rashi that I remember, but it's not what he says.
Okay.
Here it says that if he didn't do the Avera, he doesn't get paid for the thought. He had a plan to do an Avera, and he didn't do it at the end. Not because you're saying that if he
Not
did, should have
because he
not
regretted it
because
or
he regretted it.
changed his
Even because the
mind.
onus happened, he wasn't able to. He wanted to. He wasn't able to. The bank, he thought he's able to rob the bank, and the mice said they had an extra lock. He wasn't able to, but he planned to. So he doesn't get paid for. He doesn't get punished for the plan if it didn't get carried through.
Okay.
But the Marzakasha, we said the answer already, right? That if it did bring to an act, so then he gets paid back for the act also. But if it didn't come to an act, so then he doesn't get paid for the plan. Not a kasha. That the Bnei Yisrael is going to be seized for their thoughts. That sounds so weird that they do get punished for the thoughts, and you're saying that a thought that didn't bring to an action is not punished. That's worse. Avodah Zarah, even for the plan of Avodah Zarah, also he's punished, even though it didn't bring to an action. Avodah Zarah is very chomer because somebody that denies it is like he reads the whole Torah, missed the whole Torah. But if he wants Avodah Zarah, then it's like he's denying the whole Torah. Avodah Zarah is different. That's one teretz. One teretz says Avodah Zarah is worse. Another teretz, that we can explain this pasuk that says that sometimes Bnei Yisrael are punished for the plans of Avera, even though it didn't carry through. So first he said it's very extreme. If a person did an Avera 2 times, so it becomes mutter. So of course it doesn't mean literally it becomes mutter. You do Avera 2 times, it becomes mutter. But you think that it becomes mutter because he did Avera 2 times. First white line. Ella Nasis Loketa, that to him it seems like it's mutter. Once he did it 2 times. First time he pushed and did Avera, and then he did a second time, then he gets used to it, it gets numb, and therefore it's considered that mutter. So therefore, Rashi says, now from now on, the 3rd time, once he plans to do the Avera, even though it doesn't get carried out, he is punished for the plan alone. So now it goes back to what we're talking about. Because here we assume that he would have done the Avera. Like here's what Rashi says, he just didn't need to, but he would have done the Avera. So then he's punished for the planning also. The case that he didn't do it at the end, it's not, maybe it was some kind, I don't know if it was a regret, mamish, I don't know if it's called a regret, but he didn't do it. If he didn't do it, whatever reason, at the last minute he didn't do it, so I don't know if it's called regret mamish, like doing an Avera, I don't know if it's called tshuva, but he didn't do it, then he's not punished for the thought. But if he couldn't do it, but he would have done it, that's punishment that he is punished for the Avera. So in the case where a person did it a couple of times already, so we assume there's no reason why he shouldn't do it. The reason why he didn't do it is because he doesn't need it. That's what Rashi says over here, that in this case, he's not going back to Shem Shemayim. The reason why he stopped doing it is not because of Shem Shemayim, but because he didn't need it anymore. So then he is punished for the thought also. He didn't need the Avera. He wanted to eat some treif stuff. At the end, he got a meal.
He already ate a treif stuff before.
No, he ate. No. Again, yes. Once a person ate treif, about going slower. First, the person wanted to plan to eat treif.
Okay.
He went into the store, and then
And they didn't have it.
after they didn't have it, I'm not sure. That's what I was saying before, but I'm not sure anymore. Then he got a kosher meal by accident, and then he wasn't hungry anymore, so he doesn't eat it. Okay, but then then what do we say? That he's not punished for it.
He's not punished for the thought.
Because we can assume that maybe he would have stopped. Maybe he would have stopped. But if a person already did the Avera a couple of times, then we don't assume he would have stopped. Because he does it a couple of times, by him it's mutter already. He doesn't look at it as an Avera. So then, even if he didn't do it at the end, he is punished for the thought because it's assumed that he would have done it. So back to
It's worse because he multiple times makes it worse.
because he's already numb to
used
the
to it.
Avera and he's going to do it. We can't say he would have stopped. No chance he would have stopped. So it comes out, I'm not so sure anymore, the difference between a mitzvah and an Avera. By a mitzvah, nenas v'lo asa, he gets credit for the plan. If he wasn't able to do the mitzvah, he gets credit. It comes out according to the end of the Gemara, by Avera also, if it was nenas v'lo asa, but he would have done it, just he wasn't able to. So I think also he's going to get punished for the Avera.
That's only because he did it multiple times.
Right, because then we assume that he's going to do it. But otherwise, we'll say maybe he wouldn't have done it. But by mitzvah, even if he didn't do it many times yet, he wanted to do a mitzvah, he gets paid for the mitzvah.
I have a question about the Avodah Zarah. When
Yes.
Am Yisrael sinned with Midian, wasn't it because they wanted to have znus with them?
Let's say.
Let's say. So the Avodah Zarah was just in order for them to have znus. They didn't necessarily want to do the Avodah Zarah. They only wanted to do the znus.
So what do you say? That's the question.
I don't know. Would they be punished for?
But
the
they still
Avodah Zarah
did
too?
Avodah Zarah. I mean, the Avodah Zarah is very chamor, and they were willing to do Avodah Zarah for whatever motivation they had. I'm not sure.
Oh, I
I'm
see.
not sure. Maybe the Meister did
Okay.
Avodah Zarah. New Gemara, first white line. Amar Rabbi Avo. Mishum Rabbi Chanina. Personally, it's better that a person should do a Avera secretly and not to make a Chil Hashem. If he does the Avera in public, so then it's a Chil Hashem. It's better he should do it in privacy and not do a Chil Hashem. Shenema?
Another story, another case.
What do you mean?
Is this a different case?
New Gemara, 2 dots. There's 2 dots on the first white line. I mean, in
About
some
doing Averas.
editions. What?
This is the sugya of doing
Amar
Averas.
Rabba.
Amar Rabbi Avo, the name of Rabbi Chanina. It's easier, it's better for a person to do an Avera in secrecy and not to do a Chil Hashem in public. Shenamar v'atem beis Yisrael kol mar Hashem ish gidulav l'chu avodu v'achar emenchem shomim elai v'Hashem koshi lo schalelu. So what is the supposed to say? You basically the house of Israel. So said Hashem. Each person should go serve Avodah Zarah if you're not listening to me, and don't be machal my holy name. So the words now should that it's better to do Avodah Zarah in a way that you shouldn't do Chil Hashem. I don't think it's a Pashup Shot maybe, but it's better to do Avodah Zarah in secrecy than to do it in public. So
I
the
don't
more
understand
down.
that because can't we just add it up? Somebody who does an Avera, that's one thing.
And he's
And
also
if
Chil
they-
Hashem.
Chil Hashem is the second thing.
So might as well do
two
it.
is worse than
the other
one. So
It makes sense to me. But the Marza Kasha, the more continues with a new statement, and there was an nasty contradiction. Make a period over here. We make a period and continue, and then the Gemara is nasty kasha. Rabbi Loi, okay. Never heard of that. Rabbi Loi, okay. But if a person sees that as evil inclination is overpowering him, and he's going to do an avera, he should go to a place that no one knows him. You should put on black clothing, cover with black clothing, and do what he desires, means do the avera. And don't make it chil Hashem.
Nowadays, instead of black clothing, you have to put on a checkered shirt or something.
For what purpose?
Because every from Jew wears black clothing.
I don't know if the point is to say that he shouldn't recognize him. The black is not that they shouldn't recognize him.
Huh?
The black, what's the purpose of the black clothing?
I thought that people shouldn't recognize him.
No, they should a place where no one knows him. A place where nobody knows him. And besides that, also put on mourning clothes, clothes of MOURN.
Oh, it's morning clothes?
Like that kind of like not
oh, or maybe work clothes?
Shchorim sounds like something,
Lo mechubad.
and call it like loomy.
Makes you non-happy mood, not like running.
Not in an aggressive mood, not that he's doing a positive thing.
I see.
He knows he's doing a bad thing. He's going to do a bad thing.
I see.
So we shouldn't have a problem over here. I'm not sure what the problem is exactly. We shouldn't have a problem. You're telling him to do an avera. You're permitting him to do an avera. So I would say, like Yaakov said, of course they're not saying he's doing an avera. He's going to do an avera anyway. So we tell him, go to a place that they don't know you. At least don't make it chol Hashem.
Yeah.
But for some reason, the Rishon had a problem, and they said as if that's getting permission to do an avera.
With the Rishonim?
The Rishonim were bothered by this kasha. I think the Pashup Shad, I'm not sure why the Rishonim were bothered.
Uh-huh.
But what is the thing about black clothing? So some say that the black clothing maybe will get him out of the mood of doing an avera. Maybe it'll help not to do an avera. Chas v'shalom shehuta lo la'avo avera. So I would say, I would have thought for sure chas v'shalom to do avera, but he's doing the avera anyway. So the point is, if you do avera anyway, so go to a place that don't recognize you, and don't stay in a place where they recognize you, because you're going to cause the chil Hashem, like Yaakov said, 2 and 1. Like
I think there's argues there. Just explaining.
No, he says alakacham rabbi. Yes, Rochem Bach said no. So the Bishas Chor Mishabim Yitzhara Monim Adam and Avera. Do this and you won't do Avera. He's giving him advice. Go down the road and you're going to lose your gaiva and all of your aggression to do Avera, and you won't do Avera. I would think the Pashup Shad is that he's going to do Avera, but we're telling him better do Avera in a place where they don't know you, and don't do
put that together.
I don't see that.
If he ends up doing it, it'll be. First of all, it might help him not do it before.
Okay.
And if he's going to do it, he'll do at least private, not in public.
So why doesn't he say that? That's the kasha chas v'shalom. That's not a problem. It's just as if it says do what you want. Yes, chas v'shalom. So I would say, of course, chas v'shalom, but he's going to do it. After the chas v'shalom, he's still going to do it. So we tell him, so go to a place that don't recognize you. I'm not sure. Rabbeinu Chanana. They have other pshat, other Rishonim say that he shouldn't do the avera. He wants to do so. He's not doing avera. He wants to listen to Galatian music, something like that. Like that's what they say. Like he's gonna, not that he's doing avera. But I would think the Pashup Shad is like Yaakov said, that he's gonna do the avera. We're not telling him, we're not permitting him. We're saying you do the avera, do it in a place you shouldn't be a chal Hashem at least. Somebody, not the subject at all, but somebody said, if you're gonna, his example was a very mild example. When the cars they want to turn, they cut off. You have to stand in line to make a left turn.
Yeah.
So some cars they go to the front and then they cut off.
Yeah.
So he said take off your yarmulke.
Take off your yarmulke.
That's not this kind of a
We have it right at the stoplight from Mamilla, from Yitzhak Kariv, turning right to go to the Kotel. They go in the left lane and then try to cut in.
So
there's to make the right turn.
I give another example. If someone's going to smoke, they should do it private.
The light before that.
So you tell them you mutter to smoking. You're not allowed to smoke in private either.
They see a long line.
At least
they
not make it
go
chil
left and
Hashem.
cut in at the end.
That make it rough.
Thank you.
We haven't done that.
Did I ever do it?
We haven't done.
So, you know,
If somebody looks very Jewish, he doesn't have to take off his yarmulke. You know, if he has.
Sometimes I'll go straight to the light and I'll take a right and not go in that light.
This
I'll-
Rebbe is
I'll look around.
seems like a remez to
gotta get
Kitetse,
Hi.
the
If he over there, the Torah said it's mutter.
Yafes Torah.
Over there, the Torah says that it's mutter.
But what's mutter?
To have relations
Yeah.
with the
And
Yafas
then what do
Torah.
you do?
He's not to have relations.
No, but then you wait for a month.
But it's not the same as here. Here, unless Taish is saying he's not going to do it at the end over here either.
I'm here by like changing your clothing and everything seems to me like the waiting
Okay,
a month.
okay. Okay.
Also, two minutes, one.
Kasha, Amy,
Not comfy.
Any, is it so that what?
is that so that
That you
a
should
person
try
that
to-
it's better to do it in privacy than to do it in public?
Okay,
But Tanya, if somebody doesn't have compassion, pity on the honor of his maker, it better he shouldn't have come to the world. What's the case? Someone that doesn't have care about Kol Shemayim. Rabbi Omar, this is not the subject. Let me just put this in parentheses a second. What is it? What is the case of somebody? What is the case of somebody that's not chasal kvod kono? So Rabbi said, "Zeh mistakol b'keshes." If somebody looks at a rainbow, why is that something against kvod kono?
did Hashem say not to look at?
It's like
Oh,
looking
because
at
it's-
Sheena.
No, because Hashem said it's a promise not to destroy the world, isn't it? Seems like a good thing.
Why is that a reason not to look at
look
a
at it?
rainbow? That Rashi over here?
Is that Keshes a rainbow or a different term for Keshes?
No, a rainbow. Mistakol b'keshes.
Well, I mean, we're supposed to look at bracha and look at it briefly.
So what's wrong with
Like
looking
we
at a
look at the
rainbow?
moon when we do Kiddush Lavan.
No, but this is Mr. Kel. Seems
Oh,
like
I think I
more-
remember now. That is mistakol b'keshes. The Gemara, it says in the pasuk in Yecheskel that that's the symbolic of the Shechina.
Right.
Kemari akeshes, Kemari akeshes b'yom unknown something. At the end of the first paragraph of Yecheskel, it says like that's the who marei kvod Hashem. So you're not supposed to look at the keshes, which is symbolic of the Shechina.
It has nothing to do with, it was reminiscent of destroying the world.
I don't think so.
But yeah, we're told to say bracha.
You say, bro, that shouldn't be mistaken. Shouldn't be mistaken.
So
Just
there
to
may
look
be a
at it and
difference
say
between looking and just
Mustaqim.
glimpse.
Mistake means to
This is
steer,
gazing.
to steer,
Staring.
not look at it
Staring.
intently. But that's not our subject. It's in parentheses.
And
Rav
that's
Yosef,
sent in by Kiddush Lavan.
I don't recall that it says not look at the moon. I don't recall.
I do.
I don't recall that it says not look at the moon. I don't recall.
If I'm not mistaken, so the Stern says before you make the bracha, you should look where the moon is, and then turn yourself away when you make the bracha, because making bracha to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and not to the moon.
But that's not that. That has nothing to do with looking at the moon. That has to do with making a bracha and not making it look like you're making a bracha to the moon.
But it says specifically you should look at the moon first.
Yeah, you have to see the, you don't see the moon, you don't say a bracha. You have to look at the moon. And also have to look at the rainbow to say a bracha also. So the question is if there's any issa.
Stakel, I think Chaim Dolan was saying it's the difference between a stakel and
Right.
As far as the
There's
keshes.
two
And
ways
the
to
moon
see
is something-
something.
the moon
One
is a
to
definition.
have a glimpse
Yes.
and done.
One is
Well, and the other is to make it a whole
right. But
meditation.
all this it says by the keshes, it doesn't say about a
Like to
moon. Doesn't say about a moon. Moon is might be a definition like Abelazar said. If Yosef was that wasn't our subject. Back to the subject. If Yosef was that somebody doesn't have in privacy. So on the contrary, here it says to in privacy is a bad thing. That's called is not chasal kvod
Not
kono
giving kavod to
to
the
Hashem.
Mhm.
That he's doing a in privacy. So the answer is simple. L'chora, lo kasha. If he can control himself, but he thinks I'm in privacy, nobody sees me, so he does avera. That's called that he's not chasal kvod kono. He doesn't realize that Hashem is looking at him. He doesn't care about people. That's bad. But a person who can't control himself, so he's going to do avera anyway. So it's better to do it in privacy, not to do it in public. The other avera is not a question about that. Question is a question of he's not going to do it in public. He's not going to do it in public. He's not doing it in privacy. That's bad. You means you could control yourself. Just you're not scared of Hashem, but only scared of people. That's not good. But if a person is so overcome by his Yitzhak, he's going to do it even in public, then it's better to do it in privacy. Because on the contrary, he's doing it because of Kvod Shemayim. He doesn't want to be Mechal Kvod Shemayim. Look at more. Time lesson. Ein makifim b'chilul Hashem. So what does makifim mean? The Gemara talk about the word makifim means. They don't do hakafa b'chilul Hashem.
They don't put on the credit card.
Oh, so that's the Gemara is going to say Pshat. Echad shogeg v'echad mezid. That even shogeg also causes a chel Hashem. A person has to realize that even a shogeg, the ma'aseh causes a chel Hashem. But the Gemara wants to know what does it mean? Mayin makifin. Mayin makifin. What does that mean? Amar masutra she'enos kachenvani. they don't give credit like in the store, like kafan in the store. It means credit. So that Hashem doesn't wait to punish. That Chil Hashem is punished immediately. A different shot in the word makifin that doesn't mean about credit, but it means that it weighs down. Rashi says the word akafa comes from comparing two things when it's equal. So if
No, it's not. It hasn't done with encircling.
no, interesting.
all.
I see. So Pshat, but they said that just like hakafa has a double meaning of taking something on credit, paying in 30 days, whatever. And so hakafa also means circling. So he says now that we make the hakafas with the lulav and esrog, and we go around our bima and minhag and things to go around the mizbeach, that we can borrow, we can take credit on all the mitzvahs that we're doing now to get ensure a good year.
But that's surely a drash.
He mentions it.
Okay, that how could you not? How could you not say such a pshat to them? Here, Rashi says on the bottom of the page, Rashi says according to the second pshat, but I was like, according to the first pshat, kafa means credit. Like we find that kafa. According to the second pshat, it doesn't mean credits. What does it mean? Balancing. Like makif and bavui means to. Over there means if you have a tray for you put two things together. It's called to be makif. Put makif zu etzel zu. When you put two things together to compare them, if they're similar, that's called to be makif. So here, the Rashi learns that the Gemara is saying the second pshat of the Gemara is if there's 50-50, a person has merit and demerit equal, so the Chil Hashem is going to weigh it down. It's not going to be equal. That Emakif and the Chil Hashem means the Chil Hashem doesn't become equal on the scale. It's going to weigh down the scale, down the bad side.
What are we gaining here?
We're not gaining. We're reading a Gemara that said the Ein Makif and Chil Hashem. We have the issue of Chil Hashem. So it brings down a Mishnah, Ein Makif and Chil Hashem, and the Gemara wants to know what it means. It said to Pshat, the first shot is that there's no credit. He's going to be punished soon, not going to be pushed off. Second shot is that if it's on the scale of half and half, the Chil Hashem is going to weigh it down. Tanur Rabbanan.
Like two different Averos.
All of that, he has 50-50. It's a very 50-50, but aside of the 50 is also Chil Hashem, so it's weighed down. We have the same thing on this positive side. We have keep it up aim. Over there is Shkula, Machras. Tanur Rabbanan. Mincha is in 10 minutes. We have 5 minutes.
Okay.
The Olam. We have another Amud, if we could, to finish the parak. If not, tomorrow. Love you, other Matzmo. This Moshe had the kasha many times. I don't know the answer. That 50-50. Well, who's 50-50? I don't know the answer. I asked a couple of people. I don't know the answer yet. Love you, other Matzmo. Kilo Chetzer Chayav Chetzer Zaka. A person should look at himself as if he's 50-50. Asa mitzvah achas ashrav shechriya asmo lekav schos. Oba beir achas oilo shechriya asmo lekav chov. The one deed is going to do now is going to make it or break it. One mitzvah is going to make himself on the merit side, and one of is going to make him on the kav chova side. Now, just to point out that there is a difference. What's the rov? That's a major issue. That there is an issue if he's rov stories or rov beirus. That makes a big difference. So it isn't just one more beirus and one more mitzvah. Sometimes it's going to be the deciding factor of rov.
Yeah.
So that's what the Gemara means. But they're asking how often is it that that's the deciding factor. But the truth is that mitzvahs don't go according to number. It goes according to. So you never know. This could be the mitzvah that's going to tip the scale. One avera could destroy a lot of good. Because of one avera, he's going to lose a lot of good. It's not just going to be one more avera. It tips the whole scale. Rav Shimon Omer, that not only the person himself, the world also goes according to the rule. The world is judged according to the majority of people. And each person is judged according to his majority of deeds. Not only could it tip the scale for himself, it could tip the whole world also, because he now tipped out for good or for bad. Here it says that if he did good, so what fortunate is he? He does it. Okay, this is it. That a person, this is it. This is the source. That a person made himself and the whole world onto the merit of good. And the opposite of again, because one sin that a person did, but not only he lost a lot of good, the whole world lost a lot of good, because the world is judged according to the rule. Even a person who's a tzaddik gomer his whole life, and at the end he rebelled, he loses out on everything, all the good things that he did. No, that was before. Now we're up to Rav Shimon. We're about 10 miles after that. It went pretty fast because
Ooh,
the
yeah,
words are
no, I
easy.
like this.
I'm trying to get to the mission.
Shenema, kind of the end of the paragraph. Shenema, Tzidka, Tzadik, Lo, Sasilenu, B'Yom Pisho. That the righteousness of the righteous man is not going to save him on the day of his sin. If he sins, he loses out everything. I feel the Rosh and the opposite. I feel the Rosh Gamba Kol Yom Avos Tshuva V'Achrona. A complete wicked man, he did Tshuva in the end. In Maskim Lo Shuv Risho, they don't remind him anymore, they don't mention to him anymore his evil. Shenema, V'Risha Sarosha Lo Yikashabo B'Yom Shuvo Mirisho. That the issue, the wickedness of the Rasha is not going to make him stumble on the day of his repentance. But the more Skash is, why did he lose everything? By the Tzaddik. Just because he did Avera, the Tzaddik, why does it take away all of his mitzvahs? He has mitzvahs, he has Averas. Why does it make him that he loses everything? The answer is Amar Shlokish, but Torah Allah Rishonos. If he regrets the good things that he did. The Tzaddik, he was a Tzaddik, but now he regrets all the sins that he did. If he doesn't regret it, he doesn't have Averas. Okay, he has a Cheshbon, a mitzvahs, Averas. But a person who regrets that he did the mitzvah, so he loses the mitzvah. The same thing a person could do tshuva on an Avera, he could do tshuva on a mitzvah.
Nice to
You can do
repent.
tshuva.
Toha means that, I don't know how to say the word exactly,
Wonder.
but it means
One.
Toha. Any Rashi?
Isn't it
Toha?
like what is something we did on, we have in the Al Hates?
No, it's spelled differently. Rashi says
Oh.
Muschar. Rashi says Muschareit. I don't know the exact one. Rashi says that he regrets the good that he did. Do we have time or should we stop?
No, that's it.
I think we should stop.
Okay.
Okay,
So up to
4:15 tomorrow.
up to the Mishnah.
That's
4:15.
That's good.
Okay, thank you everybody. Chag Sameach.
4:15, Shabbos, 4:15.
What
Okay.
time did the Chorvus finish today in the morning?
I wasn't in the Chorah. I was in the Menachem Sion.
Oh, you were not seeing
The
him.
first
Oh,
minute. They finished by
wow.
8:30.
Tomorrow?
Packed it